Does this, am I recording now? Yes, I am recording now. Hi, my name is Elizabeth Johnson Phillips, and I am the content developer for MPWRSource, and we are here today. The gang is all here, or should I say the MPWRSource Squad is mostly all here. And we are going to be talking today about ways in which sales and marketing can collaborate. Oftentimes, sales and marketing sit on the opposite sides of the table, and sometimes we don't play well together, and we are, or we view each other as just different creatures almost. And so we want to talk about ways that we can come together and we can help one another and feed off one another and assist one another in a really organic way as teammates. And so I want to introduce all of you to my teammates. And Paula, I'm going to confess that I'm not actually sure how to say your last name. So collaborate with me as I introduce Paula, our Outbound Growth Developer, whose last name is
Mustico.
See, I would have said Mustico, and that would have been wrong. Mustico.
I've heard them all.
Mustico. Lanolin, like sheep's wool. Okay. So we have Paula Mustico first. She is our Outbound Growth Developer. She is our sales, our typical. There's nothing typical about you, but she is our salesperson. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you bring to the MPWRSource Squad.
So I have, let's say, almost about 20 years of sales experience. I have worked in corporate environment. I decided to, make a change and go to a small business, which I am extremely happy I made that change. It's a lot easier to collaborate with everybody. You don't have a lot of people that you have to jump through hoops to get to the answer to. There's, if I need to ask a question, I can call any of you or just, say, hey, help me please, and you're right there for me. So other than that, I really enjoy working with everybody and just going and meeting new clients and seeing how I can help them better their business and see what I can do to make their everyday lives easier in any way that I can.
I think one of the things that you said that was really great was that you enjoy hearing from the clients and finding out how you can make their lives better. And that's what sales is, good sales is, and that's also what good marketing is. So the goal or the core of what we're about is the same. And so next I'm going to go to Matt McPartland, who is our graphic designer. He is the knife. He is an exquisite tool here on the MPWRSource Squad. And tell us a little bit about what you bring to the table, Matt.
Yeah, so I'm Matt McPartland, and I'm the digital and graphic designer. I do a bunch of different things, mainly any type of graphic related element for marketing purposes or branding purposes. So logos or business cards or other marketing material, maybe help with some of the website stuff. I do video, so content type of things, podcasts, just a wide variety of stuff that can help, empower a client through design elements and marketing. So
that's fantastic. And last, I'm gonna actually save the big woman on campus for the last. I'm gonna tell that's you. I just said you. Yeah. I'm going to tell a little bit about myself because I usually just act as moderator, but I do have something to say, and I feel like it makes sense for me to go after Matt just because he is my fellow content creator. My role here is content developer. My it is my nickname. Word girl. I am in charge of all the words. I create blog posts and case studies and email campaigns and work with Matt on those video scripts and help with the podcast. So Matt and I collaborate really well. It's sort of a classic copywriter, artist
combo.
Thank you. See, you just saw it happen, people. We did not plan that, but it just organically happened. The collaboration. So it's natural for that. I mean, to think of for Mad Men and Stan and Peggy type thing, people are used to that. But how do we? I think today is really interesting to talk about how can we broaden that team. And so that is what I bring to the table and sort of helping craft a message. Sometimes it is giving the words to a client. Sometimes it's taking the words from a client and moving things around so that they sound better, so they're reaching their market a little bit better, or so they're having better search engine optimization, getting found better. So that's what I do. And we are all three of us led by the incomparable Manic Maple, our boss, MPWRSource's Chief Growth Officer, Tiffany Greene.
Woo! Oh, okay. So, what do I do? What do I do? Just kidding.
Well, how honest do you want me to be?
So, I have same amount of experience as Paul. I mean, in terms of a span of years, a couple decades worth of marketing experience. And actually, back in the day, I actually served in sales. So I have both experiences from the sales perspective and the marketing perspective. And from my experience, sales and marketing never got along. Sales never got what marketing did. They just thought it was fluff. And marketing thought sales were just whiners. And so we're all going, yeah. So, but the problem.
I have many feelings about that statement.
Well, the problem with that scenario is because they were kept in two different departments, and sometimes you'd have your director of sales, maybe VP of sales. You know, a lot of organizations have multiple tiers. That's a whole other conversation. And then marketing would be the same way. And usually you'd have the director of sales and the director of marketing, or whatever the biggest title was, duking it out under the CEO, saying, I'm better, no, I'm better, and I need more money, no, I need more. Gee, they just spend money, and they're just like boom, boom, boom. And the leader themselves doesn't really understand, what's the difference again between the both of you? Like, I don't really, like, they don't understand. So that has gone on for decades. And so when I started MPWRSource, I think everybody here knows that we do not have marketing and sales. Those departments do not actually exist. We don't even have names that say marketing and sales. We have outbound and we have inbound, because all we really do is generate growth. So I oftentimes use an analogy in marketing and sales, and I like My Big Fat Greek Wedding, and everyone here has heard this already, but in My Big Fat Greek Wedding, the mom goes, the husband may be the head of the household, but the wife is the neck. The neck points it where it needs to go. So in that analogy, I often say sales is the head and marketing is the neck, because marketing is the one who's doing all the research on the back end, saying, okay, these are the pools you need to be fishing in. This is what the people are wanting. And then the sales are the boots on the ground, going to actually hearing from the people. So they're almost like every day kind of conducting a focus group, so to speak, to hear what the people really want. So that way marketing knows, okay, maybe we need to pivot, maybe we need to change a little bit. So both are just literally working together all of the time. And so when I created MPWRSource, that was the goal, is that we're all striving for the same thing, and that there would be no separation.
I think you did a really good job of highlighting how we can work together in terms that there are two different roles. Like you said, the head and the neck, there are two different roles. And, I think one of the things that I know you love, Tiffany, is you love studying statistics. But one of the things that
A little bit.
I always work on as a writer and as a content developer is telling a story, and stories are all about people, and good marketing, good inbound marketing is about being human and authentic, but that's in fact what good sales is about. It's about establishing a relationship, and those two can definitely come together. And personally, for me, one of the ways in which I can see inbound really supporting outbound is with this sort of background information and saying, we've created these buyer personas for you. We know who you're talking to, so that when sales goes out, they can be effective. They can have an effective message. They can have an effective strategy. And because they know, they have a better idea of whom they're selling to, because in the end, it's actually not about the thing. It's not about the product. It's about a relationship between people. And particularly now, in light of everything that's going on, establishing authentic relationships is of paramount importance. And so I feel like things like buyer personas and listening to your target market, and even me doing some social media management, it's a great way to listen to your audience, to empower, to use a word we like around here, to empower your sales team. Paula, can you speak to ways in which, and if we haven't done it, I just said be authentic, but I'm going to tell you to make something up if we haven't done it. The ways in which marketing has been able to provide you almost like insider information, ways in which we've been able to support you as you've done sales. And to let the cat out of the bag, poor Paula has been like doing sales, not poor Paula, because she's been knocking it out of the park, but sales right now, while everyone's quarantined, it's a little bit, it's different. You know, the landscape of sales and marketing is changing. And Paula has done a great job of pivoting with that. But can you tell us a little bit about how Inbound has been able to support you in your efforts?
Absolutely. So Tiffany and I, we talk pretty much almost every day about what's working, what's not working, you know, different ways that she's actually noticed have gained traction, especially now because everybody is sending an email or everybody's leaving a voicemail. And if you're getting inundated with voicemails and emails, you're going to look at it and say, I don't know that number. I'm not reading it. I'm not going to listen to it. Move on. So a lot of different things we have tried, like the video emails. That's a good one, because if you see a video email come to your email account, you're like, oh, what's that? Just different areas that we didn't think about contacting before. We looked into those. A lot of different talks that we had and research, and just going and diving deep into different businesses to see what we can do in order to help them. So that way, when I actually am able to speak to somebody, I can speak to their needs or their pain points to see what we can do to help them.
That's right. And I know I'm going to throw out a statistic there because my boss really likes them. And then I'm going to throw it to Matt to see what he has to say. So just got this statistic that 67% now of the buyer's journey is done online. 67, that's a big number. I mean, that's almost 3/4. I mean, it's not, that's 75, but I mean, that's a huge number. And so, Matt, as you design digitally, how does that affect the way you design? And I know you do video and you do some web design stuff as well. How do you think about the market and trying to pull in leads in terms of how does design affect that, the way we speak to the audience?
Yeah, so I would say when it comes to a buyer's journey and being online and digitally and trying to convert people into customers, the biggest thing is the experience. So user experience design. So how can, as designers, how can we solve a problem and make it as easy as possible for them to journey through that process? Because once they get holed up on something, if something doesn't, if they get confused by something, a button, or they don't know how to click a certain link, they can't find what they want, they're going to leave. So, good designers solve those problems. So I would say that, a design mentality in this day and age is, design-centric companies in general, companies that are basically just apps. Design is literally at the top, because if there's bad design, then there's no way anybody's going to use your service or buy your product.
Correct. I mean, people don't want to waste time, even though we're all sort of stuck at home now and apparently have more of it. But really, we don't. And people don't want to feel like they're wasting their time. And sales definitely doesn't want to. We don't want sales to waste their time because time is so precious. I have another statistic. Oh, go ahead, Tiffany.
I think that statistic is really telling, right? So 67% of the actual sale is happening online. So before they ever sign a bottom line or before they ever meet Paula, they're already 67% of the way there. So with that being said, the history of marketing was always seen as a cost center. We were the frivolous spenders who were buying the really nice pens and the nice billboard signs and the ad campaigns, and we were just woo throwing it out, pretty pictures, But right now, with this whole transformation of marketing, if 67% of the buyer's journey is online through inbound marketing, we can easily say our marketing efforts are making X amount of dollars or adding this kind of value to the bottom line, which therefore proves return on investment, therefore proving that marketing is in fact not a cost center.
Because marketing can drive those content efforts through whether it's video or blogs or marketing campaigns. They generate leads. And they are a way to sort of, equip the sales team and say, talk to this person, be the neck and point the head. And I just looking at this statistic from HubSpot that, 1 in 4 companies say that their sales and marketing teams are misaligned and rarely aligned. But then it follows up with tightly aligned companies. Those companies have a 24% faster 3-year revenue growth and 27% faster 3-year profit growth. So being able to collaborate well and feed into one another, like I know I'm always saying to Paula, tell me what your clients are asking about, because then I will write about that. That's that's one way we can collaborate well together.
And I can speak on that too, just from my experience previously. There was such a misalignment between sales and marketing. We always thought marketing was out to get us because all of a sudden they would change something and we would be speaking on something else, and the client would say, "Oh, well, I just got this in the mail. Can you do this?" And we're like, no. But here, because we have that open dialogue and we're able to speak to each other, and I'm able to let you know what I see, and you're able to turn that into something that actually helps our clients, to me, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think one example I can give, and I don't even have to worry about saying the client's name or anything like that because I can't remember the client's name, but I'm going to describe it. Okay.
Our clients are always number one.
Okay. That's not my job, okay? That's not. Here's what I mean. So there was some social media campaign or email campaign that someone responded to, and I funneled that response to Paula, and Paula was able to take that lead and did it in a very timely manner, because now with social media, people are expecting a very fast response time. If you have a social media presence, then HubSpot recommends the best response time for a social media response is within 10 minutes. Now it's less so. We're not American Airlines, so we're not dealing with missed flights or life or death. But it is a quick. I think people understand if you're not going to get to them within 10 minutes. But we were able to have a quick turnaround, and you were able to take that lead that I punted to you and actually make the layup. You were able to close the deal and get a new client. And so that was sort of a way in which, we were able to, that's kind of the metaphor as being an extreme athlete.
You already said 3 sports, and you already used 3 sports cliches.
Yeah, I know.
And one little, I was amazed.
As an extreme athlete. As, People, my background is in fine art, and creative writing, and screenwriting. I am no extreme athlete, but I do like a good metaphor. But that is one way in which I see marketing and sales is we give the assist, they make the layup.
You hit that out of the park right there.
I did hit that out of the park. I did. I nailed it. I'm gonna host a podcast on sports. It won't be made up at all. But particularly though in the business to business world, which is the world in which we operate, this is, a unique way to do things. It is different. And I know, we are a small company, usually helping small businesses as well. But Tiffany, you have experience in this, and you've highlighted that in working in a large corporate way. And were there ways in which you tried to facilitate collaboration there?
Yes. And I would say in predominantly, well, one of the large corporations I really worked for was less marketing and more communications. But even within that realm, in the communications realm, that company understood at a fundamental level that even communications, marketing, and sales are all on the same team, and we're all striving for the same goal, which is to grow the company and to please the customer, right? So even through my communication efforts, there was, in essence, sales being done. That was even really before inbound marketing really took off. So all those efforts were really utilizing communication to generate a warm or hot lead for sales, even through internal communications, mind you. So, and also through my other work experience, I've never been one to really operate in a separate teams or silos, cliques, whatever. I've always been under this mindset where everybody's just working together with one common goal in mind. I mean, you were using sports analogies. I'm not a sports fan either, but on a team sport, they don't just take, what do you call it, the linebacker and the quarterbacker, I don't know, and the Big Mac, I don't know, and they all get huddled together, and then they leave the other guys out, and they say, hey, you guys stay over there, but this is what we're going to do. No, they all come together, and they're all saying, this is
that
what
is correct. That is correct. The other stuff she made up. There's no
I should have stuck with hockey.
That's
I mean, I don't know. So they all get together, and they're all mapping it out together. They're not worried about offense, defense. Hey, I knew that. Or, they're literally just coming together to say, okay, how are we going to win this game? I mean, that's what an organization should be about, and put less emphasis on what department do I work in.
That makes sense. And I think one way to further go with this team thing, because I know Matt's really excited about how we're butchering all sports. I can see it. One way is to really define, on a team, and I have played sports. I would just like to say that. It's not right. That on a team, everyone has a defined role. And that is one way in which you can come together and collaborate. And I know Paula had mentioned before, when she had worked in other environments, she would be meeting with a client, and marketing had sent some sort of collateral, whether it be, a one-pager like that Matt would design or something, and that sales would have no idea that this thing had happened. And you can't have that on a team. You can't, you're working against each other, and that would be a way in which marketing would set up sales to look dumb. Because you have these you have these parts of a team not talking to one another. So, one thing I have, we can say here is to bring marketing. If you're working on a campaign, bring in your sales team early and often. And since they're the ones I can't even speak, facing your clients on a regular basis, whether it's virtually right now or face to face or mask to mask as it will be, they're the ones who know. Like, we can study statistics, but in the end, those statistics represent people. They're representatives. They're not the actual people. And sales is with the actual people.
Yeah.
So we have to listen to them as well.
Well, and I think too, when you start talking about marketing and sales, right? And then that's a really good example that Paula used, in which, you know, the marketing department, the corporate marketing department says, hey, we got to unleash this new campaign, and they unleash it to the customers before the salespeople even know about it, right? So it kind of goes back to another school of thought that we talk about, which is our methodology. You have the strategy, then the plan, the people, the process, and then the technology. So obviously those corporations aren't following that methodology. But more importantly, marketing really is the strategy and the plan, and sales is really about the people and the process. So the strategy should always come first. And you got to make sure that the strategy is being tested out with sales, and you're cutting the feedback from sales. Just test it. Is it working? It's like your A/B test for a website, right? Is it working? And so it's also wrong when a company says, well, marketing's frivolous, let's just go with sales. They're the ones who really make the money. Because then what happens is sales is operating now without a strategy, and they're just shooting the dart, hoping it sticks somewhere.
We love our sports metaphors. I don't think that's a sport, though. It's more like a bar game.
Drink.
Yeah.
Now we're doing drinking games?
Yes! This is my kind of webinar.
Well, like
It's
I
water,
haven't been
people.
in-
Don't get so excited. It's just water.
Vodka people.
No.
I've been a designer for about 10 years now, but you know, haven't really been in the business side, in the marketing side too long. No, I've been in about 5-6 years, and I've already seen those kind of issues at my previous role, that there was a lot of the dynamic between the sales and the marketing was very complicated. There was a lot of tension. There was a lot of, what do they do? Why are they even, what do they do all day? How are they even helping us? And, like you said, spitting out campaigns without talking to them first, or the sales team not effectively communicating what the marketing team can do to help them. And a lot of it came down, they were trying to figure out how can we do this, because this is such a big issue. And just collaborating and communicating effectively, and maybe having those kinds of meetings and talks really facilitate that communication, where they can work together and be like, hey, I'm talking to this customer has no idea this aspect of our business. How can I come in as a salesperson, and how can you provide me with something that's created that immediately answers that question easily? And maybe that's a one-pager, maybe that's a video, maybe that's something else. And when they effectively communicate that, that's when problems get solved. And when you don't have that kind of collaboration and communication, and you have this separate, clicky, it was very clicky, you're right, it's very clicky. Here's the sales team, here's the marketing team, we hate each other, it's like a high school feud, and that doesn't help anybody. So
yeah, oftentimes I think the difference between sales and marketing too, by nature, is both professions are also extremely competitive. So part of that is they just want to prove that one is better than the other. So the only way to get rid of it is not to have the teams exist to begin with.
Yeah.
To just take the divide. And I will say that I, to effectively show how early communication can solve problems, Paula did not just get mad at what we were talking about and leave. She went to get her charger. And I know this because she messaged that to me. She communicated that to me. So I knew what was going on. This is how in sync Paula and I's collaboration is. But I can even speak to, some of it is definitely, I think, corporate culture. and the way in which teamwork is approached. I know here at MPWRSource, we value teamwork, we value collaboration. We do not value like boasting or trying to compete against one another, but rather for one another. And I can even speak to that in terms of just with Paula coming on. I remember with different people in different roles sitting at meetings where we're all sort of taught, where sales was there and marketing was there, and we're each talking about what we've done. And y'all can probably speak to this. Like, I would feel like I needed to document every second of my day so that sales didn't think I was just sitting around checking Facebook.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, first of all, checking Facebook is part of my job description as I manage social media. So that's part of my job. But I would feel like, and so I would go into these growth meetings with literally like 12 slides. Think about this now. And because I was trying to think, this is what I'm doing to help you. This is what I'm doing to help you. This is what I've written. This is what I've written. This is the video we made. This is the script. This is what's coming next. This is like not just bullet points, but like here. And proof.
Yeah.
Because it was not received in like a collaborative. I think just different people on the team didn't view what we did. I'm not going to say they didn't value it, but just didn't sort of understand. Whereas now Paula's on board, and that's who I'm collaborating with. I'm like, here's a picture of a dumpster fire. This is what I've been doing. I don't know. I mean, I have much fewer slides because she knows, because we're more in contact early, or and she has a question, she'll just message me, and if I have a question, I'll just message her, and we're able to collaborate because we're working towards the same goal. We're passing a ball down the field.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think it's always good to.
The analogies at least out there a little bit. Let's get some hockey in there.
So she's hitting the puck into the goal.
Yeah.
I've never played hockey. I don't know anything about it. I mean, I've been to a couple games. Yeah, that's not what this webinar is on, my hockey knowledge. I was told there would be no math, and I was told there would be no hockey. And
I never said that. That did not come from me.
Yeah. But here's like when to come back to sort of the statistics, which I know you love, Tiffany. Sales, and I have another statistic for you from the ReachForce Research Center, and it says sales and marketing alignment can help businesses become 67% better at closing deals. That is a huge amount. That is completely a game changer in terms of closing, because it's kind of weird to me that they're both 60%. If 67% of your buyer's journey is online, then you better have some good freaking content. You better have some good design. You better have good infographic, and you better have your sales team saying to your marketing team, this is what we need to know. This is how I need my job, because it's not that way. Neither party is operating by themselves in a silo, just creating stuff, because Matt and I don't want to create stuff that's not needed. We have other stuff to do.
Yeah.
Well, let me add this too. So like since COVID-19, even more people are online making sales. So that number of 67% may in fact be higher now due to COVID-19. Mm-hmm. Right. So, and then we're also in the midst of a recession. And what's the first thing a lot of companies want to cut in a recession is their marketing. So in essence, when you're cutting your marketing, you're cutting your sales. Mm-hmm. Is that the thing you want to do? I think not. So it's just like, let's go back to sports, right? So you're down. It's the final quarter or something. And
yeah, that'll work.
That'll work. That's a time period, or it could be.
And you're like down by a goal. Do you take out your best player, the one who always shoots and scores? There's the hockey. Or Or do you take him out and put on the guy who's usually sitting on the bench every single game? I think you keep your best player in, and that's what marketing is. You keep your best player in, you invest in that player to get to win the game. You take your best player out, you're going to lose. So I think we have to do, in the business world, we have to do a better job of educating people as to what marketing and sales is, what that means. I don't know how many times you'll see an advertisement and it kills me. Well, they'll say marketing manager, and then you read the job description and it's a salesperson they're looking for, because they are different roles, right? Mm-hmm. But they're different players on the team going for the same thing. That's really just the fundamental difference.
And I think, marketers, we like to look forward to see what's coming next. And you mentioned, there are definite, in light of coronavirus, there are trends that we are seeing in marketing, but there are also going to be trends that stay. For example, there has been an accelerated, it sort of brought the future here faster. We've seen that in the telehealth world, but we're seeing that in the marketing world as well. There is an accelerated migration to digital. There's going to be a heightened importance in the B2B world for that digital market space. It's no longer like a nice to have feature. You have to have it. Customers are expecting a good digital experience. They have higher, maybe lower demands for video production, because we all understand you're sitting in your house, not going anywhere. Yeah. But there are higher demands of ease of use, as Matt mentioned before, that your buttons work, that your links work, that you're able to get valuable information while not leaving your home. And there's also been, as Paula has seen this, there's been a pivot to remote selling. Most sales associates are working from home now. Go ahead, Tiffany.
Well, one of the things I also think is important, because as you're saying that, and everything that you're saying is absolutely correct, but I want to use another analogy, but not sports. So back in the day when the internet was, everyone's like, what, the internet's killing TV, it's killing radio, it's killing print. I mean, there was going to be no, what happened was yet there's another channel to use, and you need to know what channel to use for what thing. So just like in sales, and I think Paula would like to probably speak to this, yes, digital is important. It's even more important than ever. But don't forget some of the traditional elements that people look for from sales as well. Paula, would you like to speak to that?
I can tell you, I went to a meeting yesterday with a client, and I found out what his favorite ice cream was. So on top of the little goodie bag that I bring everybody when I go see them, with little things from us, I brought him some Haagen-Dazs ice cream, and he was so impressed, because he said, with everything being online and everybody doing everything remotely or via Teams or Zoom or whatever outlet you choose to use, you lose the human side of it. So with that, it's huge to be able to still do that and get out when you can, as long as you're safe. Mask to mask, but it's nice to be able to do that and still show, yes, I hear you, I understand you, I'm willing to go the extra mile to find out more about you, so I can actually recommend what you need in order to be successful and have more time to do what you like to do, like ride motorcycles or spend time with your family, whatever you like to do.
I would like to say that my favorite flavor ice cream is mint chocolate chip.
I will remember that.
If anyone would like to bring that to me. Also, tomorrow is National Donut Day. Just bits of information I thought you should have. I like a jelly filled or sea salt caramel.
Well, if I am out tomorrow, I will bring you some. I'll talk on your porch.
I am planning on actually taking my kids to go get some donuts tomorrow. That's going to be a get out of the house day. But yeah, I do think important to, I mean, this is a perfect example of collaboration, is that it's not an either or. It's a both and. Yes, there's going to be the new normal is going to include a different sales model. I don't think digital sales or remote selling is going to go away. I think people have learned which meetings could be emails. People have learned that a lot more can be done from home. And so and companies are going to be able to save money that way. And so I think that that's not going to be a trend. That's not banana bread. That's going to stay. And so, but people are, like you said, people are still human. They still like ice cream. They still like being seen. Right. And that's
essentially. They still like coffee too.
They do.
I just, Elizabeth did her own plug. I just had to throw mine in.
Yeah, you also want hand sanitizer too. Yeah. Yeah. And I just think, is there any, as we close up on our time here today, I wanted to give each of you an opportunity to say if there's anything that you would want the people who watch this or listen to this to take away. For me, what would that be? And I'll give each of you time. For me, in terms of content development, there's always this push as you in marketing to do search engine optimization and make sure all your things are tweaked. And I think that's important to know those tricks, to know when the best time to post things is, to know to listen to your statistics. That is wise. That's good strategy. However, at the end of the day, I will always say, if you build it, they will come. Humans like stories. Tell a good story. It doesn't matter the form of your content if it's junk content. So be authentic, be human, people relate to other people. So if you are struggling right now because of coronavirus, let your people you're collaborating with see your humanity. I think people will relate to that. That's my big takeaway, is just be human and be okay with being human. Paula, what would your takeaway be?
Mine would be to just be open, honest, listen, understand that we are all here to help, and if you need anything, just to reach out. Don't be afraid.
Matt, how about you? What's your design plug?
My design plug is, I guess, that, as designers, our, main objective and job is to problem solve and to communicate. So we're problem solvers and we're communicators. And, with the marketing and sales, what problems can be solved through design? Where are our pain points, and how can we solve them through design elements? Or how can we effectively communicate this message? Because we are, as human beings, analyze and receive information visually much quicker than we do any other way. So how can we work together to effectively communicate whatever messages that we have, and how can we solve certain types of pain points through design, through a video, through content creation, through podcasting? What touch points can we use, and how can we design for those? So that's probably my takeaway for that. And communicate with your sales team efficiently and work together. And sales team, don't be afraid to be like, look, here's our pain point. How can you solve that for us? And then having those ideas spread. So that would probably be my message.
Yeah, even if it's something like Paula saying, I am running up to this question and I'm trying to explain it. Can you make a picture for me?
People don't understand it. No matter how many times I explain it, they won't understand it. Well, guess what? What if I design something for that? And, that's how you work together, and that's how, the sales and marketing and design can all come together.
Exactly. And how about you, Tiffany?
I never have anything to say, Elizabeth. You know
that. you have no idea, no words, no nothing. I have never once, texted a friend, oh my gosh, she has so many ideas. They automatically know I'm talking about you. Go ahead. I don't even have to say, venting about my boss now. They know. So go ahead, lay it on us. I'm giving you a forum to say, let's limit it to 3 ideas.
Well, It's really not so much as an idea, but I think we, in order for growth to occur within any organization, I would encourage most organizations to kind of let go of the old traditions and stop thinking about sales and marketing in silos, but merge your departments together. When you're facilitating your meetings, I think you all will be able to attest to this, that when we do our huddles every week, or not every week, but every growth meeting we have, I'll say, is there a problem that you need a solution for? And that is not, that's open to anybody. So if Elizabeth, for example, is having a content issue, like I can't come up with the right story, she can say that in that forum, and anybody can speak to that. You don't have to be sitting there in your own little role and only work on what's in your box. Because I think that's what I like about MPWRSource, and I think that's what really a lot of people like, right? I think that's a big difference between a small business and a corporate environment. Typically in a corporate environment, you're sitting in the box and nobody wants you to get out. Stay in there. You're making me mad when you're coming out of the box. I used to make people mad. I'm not going to lie.
Can't imagine that at all.
And in small business, there is no box. You might have a chair. You have a chair you can sit in, but no box. And I think that's what, I don't think that's just really an MPWRSource belief. It is, but I think what we're seeing even in corporate America is there's a shift. I think the cultural shift, the organizational shift is occurring. And I think we can all say, no matter what in life, more than one brain is better, right? You come together collectively, you do better. You bounce an idea off one person, that person shares an idea, suddenly that idea that was pretty good becomes phenomenal because everybody's working on it together. And I think if nothing else, through everything that's going on, just working collectively and bridging the gaps between humans, it's just a beautiful thing, and only good things can come out of it.
Excuse me. I could not agree with you more. I think from a communications perspective, but also from a marketing and sales perspective, and just a general life perspective, there is always value in hearing a different perspective. I think with everything going on in terms of the world right now, that's a message that we need to market as well. That's true everywhere, because I know, I can just think, I'm not going to mention specifics, but I can think of this week a particular public relations event that happened that kind of shocked me, just from a public relations event that I could say, and I think a lot of PR people in the biz have looked at me like, that was not a good idea. That was not a good PR move. Which, why wasn't there someone in the room saying, the back of your head looks dumb? Like, you can't see the back of your head. You don't know what you don't know. So there's always value in reaching across the table and finding out the different perspective. And that's exactly one of the ways that we need sales and marketing to collaborate, because we don't know what we don't know.
Well, and honestly, I'd like to add to that. One of the terms I think you specifically coined during this webinar, Elizabeth, is collaborate. And I would say
collaborate
and listen.
Right.
I'm back.
That's really where I was going with. Really, to me, I think the fundamental, if you were to like boil all this down and get one word, it's not really collaborate. It's here. It is to listen, right? So in the sales job, what is the number one role in a sales job? To listen, not to talk. What's the number one rule in the marketing role? To listen, not to talk. So if that's what your role is for a client, why isn't that the role in your organization? It's just to listen. At the end of the day, that's all people want, is to be heard.
This is me listening.
You listen with your mouth because you just pointed to your mouth.
I didn't say I was good at it. No, I am good at it. expert level 12. No, I think that's really smart to say, to listen deeply and to hear your clients' pain points. And that's something that marketing and sales need to do together. And I just wanted to thank each of you for being here today. I will make sure that we have this recording sent out to y'all so you can use this. And that I'm really look forward to continuing to collaborate and listen in many new positions. I can't get away from it. I can't get away from Ice Ice Baby. I'm really sorry. I'm
Ice
fine.
Back, the brand new edition.
Someone grab a hold of me. Yeah. I know all the words.
Matt's like, oh my God, a bunch of old people.
Yes. But anyways, I wanted to thank y'all for being here with me today, and I look forward to working with y'all in the future. And thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. I bid you adieu.
Bye.
Bye. Oh no, it's not stopping. I'm like an old person now. I'm recording. Oh dear God. It's horrible.
Make it stop.
Where's the off button?
Did you hear the cat?
It won't.
Did you hear the cat crying?
Ask one of your children.
Good.
Seriously.